us your story. Your story isn't that old, except for the fact you started in your business, not starting in a restaurant. You started at 16 working for food, with food.
I started my journey as a restaurateur or in the restaurant industry at the age of 16. I was a cashier for Baja Fresh back in Tustin Marketplace. And then from there, Target, Rubio's. But those three were really what molded me when it came to give me the tools that I needed. You know, looking back now, you might think, well, right now you're doing almost upscale Mexican. How does that relate to fast food like Rubio's and Baja Fresh? Well, you learn leadership for one. You learn to manage your time. You learn to be a multitasker, and you learn to be what customer service is about. So I I really like that aspect of going through there. Although it wasn't my end goal, it definitely helped me and equipped me to the tools that I needed for when I did started working at El Chorrito Grill. And to me, that's more like my university, right? El Chorrito Grill was in the Kaleidoscope. Was really where I honed my craft. They really taught me everything when it came to more of the nitty gritty and the textbook, like your class here. Um, those are the things that I learned at El Torito Grills when we opened our food truck. We started as a food truck in 2014, just going throughout Orange County, going to breweries, Irvine Company, a lot of Fortune 500 companies that have over 3,000 employees that didn't have the means or didn't want to open a cafeteria. They would invite us over and we would cater for them or just be present for them so that their employees can stay motivated and productive during their day.
So when you started your food truck, how many people were inside the truck?
It was myself and our executive, our chef and Edgar Estrada. It was just three of us. Didn't know much about it. We knew that we wanted to open a restaurant, but I'm sure you say it here in your class: location, 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 location. Or having money in, a big backer. We didn't have either. Obviously, we couldn't get a location because we didn't have our model had not been proven. So we started just daydreaming about having a food truck, and it all came together when we watched the movie Chef of all movies. I was watching the movie Chef. In the middle of the movie, I put pause, and it's like a light bulb, right? God speaks in mysterious ways. So I called my partner now, Chef, and say, hey, Chef, I don't know if you remember, we worked together back in 2012. I just watching this movie. I think we have everything that it takes for us to go out and do it ourselves. And if you're interested, if you still want to, do something together, if the dream still exists, give me a call. So he answered the call, and before you know it, within a month, we were opening our food truck.
Wow. Okay. Where'd you go from the food truck? What was your next step, your next major step?
We opened from the food truck. We opened a second food truck. It was called Del Mar by Sol Agave. That one is just mainly seafood. And then from there, we started going to the Anaheim Convention Center. Business was really picking up now, so we needed a catering kitchen. So when I stopped by and we saw the location in San Juan Capistrano, it's a small location, 10 tables, 1,500 square feet at the most. That includes everything. Very, very tiny. And I saw the location and I'm like, you know what, Chef, this is it. This one is perfect. So but this looks like a very slow plaza. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's perfect. It has everything that we need for as far as the catering kitchen. And if 5 or 10 families come through the door, what a blessing, help us pay for the rent. But God had other plans. Marbella had other plans. They embraced the concept, and We ran a 45-minute wait since the first day of opening. So we had to quickly shift the model and kind of gave the importance or the forefront of the restaurant more than the food truck.
What year did you open that one?
Pardon?
What year did you open San Juan Capistrano?
2015.
So 1 year later, after your first food truck, you're opening a restaurant?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, San Juan Capistrano is a beach city, and they opened up in a sleepy shopping center on the backside, except they opened up by a giant, very upscale country club called Marbella. And Marbella sat down was their source, and you heard what he said. They opened the doors and they opened up with a 45-minute wait list out there. So it is a premier place to go to for food. So 2014, a food truck based upon you saw a movie, and then you went out and you opened up a restaurant a year later.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
And then from there, we within 6 months, we outgrew our location naturally. And we opened where Harlow's is now, or used to be Harlow's. We opened our location there with the caveat of saying, you know, the landlord comes to me every once in a while and say, "Hey, are you ready to go to the bigger location?" We walked over, we saw the location. It was beautiful, but it was way too big. We never thought we would fill it. So I told the landlord, you know what? Yes, I'll take it, but I'll take half of the restaurant, with the promise that in a year or so, I'll open the second half of the restaurant. And then the third year, I'll finally open the rest of the restaurant. Mind you, we were coming from a 1,500 square feet restaurant. This one is 5,500 square feet restaurant. So it's obviously a big, big difference when it comes to the entire operation. So we moved there within 6 months. Within 2 weeks of us being there in San Juan, I was calling the landlord up and saying, "Hey, you know what? Remember when I told you that half of the restaurant I couldn't use? Well, how about if I use it Friday and Saturday, but not the rest of the days? Okay, I can't pay the rent for the rest of the days." He's like, "Fine, let's go do it." A week later, I was calling him again and said, "Well, maybe I will take it Monday through Sunday, but not the third half of the restaurant." And from there, obviously, he forced me. He said, "You know what? No, you got to take it all now since you're taking the second half." And we were able to run a successful restaurant there in San Juan. We're still there. It's still one of the busiest, if not the busiest store in our company.
All right, so this is at the same location as San Juan Capistrano.
Yeah.
And in less than a year, you went from 1,500 square feet to 5,500 square feet?
5,500. Yeah.
Okay. So that's physical location one.
Yeah.
What was number two?
It was Kaleidoscope. It was Kaleidoscope Mall in Mission Viejo. Remember, I used to work at a Kaleidoscope at El Torito Grill. That's where I hone my craft. So to me, it was just like a full circle coming back. Every time I would go to the El Torito Grill, that's when really the bugs started coming in, that I can do this. I can be an entrepreneur. I can have a restaurant here one day, right? So coming back there was more so like an emotional decision, more than a vision decision, although we did well. That was one of the locations during the pandemic that we just couldn't keep on. So we sold that location in the Kaleidoscope, and from there we opened. We went for the first time out of state, and we opened American Fork in Utah. All of my family's in Utah, and every time I would go up there with Edgar, my partner, we would always come back with the void that there was just no good Mexican food. We're foodies by heart, so we're always looking for where's the best food, where's the best drinks in town. Utah is one of those states that's just has been overlooked for when it comes to Mexican food. Certainly when it comes
Yes,
to
they have.
we serve.
You can't find sushi there either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we opened there from used to be a Rubio's.
Okay.
So God has always kept me close to all my past. So it used to be a Rubio's. We transformed it into a Sol Agave, and that's doing phenomenal. We're due to open our second location in Salt Lake City, in the big city now. Um, I would say in late June, late June or first week of July. Our Salt Lake City location would be opening there. And then during the pandemic, we opened 3 locations. So we opened Utah was one of the locations that we opened during the pandemic. We opened San Clemente in Del Mar during the pandemic, and we opened 2 Italian restaurants for Il Soleil.
You opened up 2 Italian restaurants?
Correct.
So you're actually going off brand from Mexican to Italian.
Yeah, well, you know what they say is there's only a couple of things that you would eat more than twice a week. One of them, you can do a strong case that it would be Mexican. With the second very close behind, it would be Italian, right? Or it could be, for most, it could be Italian 1, Mexican 2, but it's why not have both? So we had one of the chefs that we hired during the pandemic, and he worked in Italian restaurants for all his life. So was our general manager that we had in San Juan. So I'm like, you know what? This could be a perfect pairing. You guys do Italian. We've always wanted to do an Italian concept. I believe in paying it forward. About we go into business together, and they became our partners. So they're our operating partners, but we're the ones that finance the entire operation.
Okay. All right. Just a note to the class, anything he says is game to be on our first quiz that's coming up shortly. Just, I'm taking notes. See the notes I have?
Yeah.
I'm taking notes to include about 3 to 5 questions on the quiz from this interview, just in case you wanted to know. All right, now the Italian, all right, so you're talking about you're changing foods.
Yeah.
Your business model is not necessarily a Mexican restaurant model. It is a restaurant model. Because you're mixing different types of foods. You're not saying, I'm a Mexican restaurant entrepreneur. No, you're not. You're a restaurant entrepreneur.
Yeah.
All right. So now you have, okay, you're in Santa Monica right now. For those of you in class, the music in the background is actually at his restaurant in Santa Monica.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what is that, is that Italian or Mexican?
No, this is Sol Agave. So it's our Mexican concept.
Okay. Where are your 2 Italian restaurants at?
We have one in Rancho Santa Margarita by the lake, right next to Carmelitas and Blind Pig. And our second location is in San Juan Capistrano in Marbella Plaza.
Okay. Wow. Okay. What is your secret? I mean, tell me about what makes you different. Okay, you're going up against El Torito, the place that groomed you. And did El Torito go belly up? Did you take over their store? What happened there?
El Torito Grill I didn't take over El Torito Grill. I believe that the concept, and it's one of the things here that you mentioned in one of the comments that I have, is you always keep innovating, right? You always have to keep changing, keep moving. What's popular today is not going to be popular tomorrow. Certainly not in 3 years from now. And El Torito Grill, El Torito in general, just stayed stagnant for a good decade, if not maybe 20 years, without any significant change. So somebody like Javier's come around and really opened everybody's eyes when it came to the consumer, and saying, wait a minute, you're telling me that for $5 more, I can have this quality food than what El Torito is serving me as upscale? Yeah, that's kind of the case that it was. So it opened up a lot of guest eyes, and good was not good anymore. You have to be you had to go to excellent. And when you're that big, that El Chorrito was, it's hard for you to make a change like that because you're not just changing 3 restaurants, you have to change 150 restaurants. It won't necessarily work in every single neighborhood. So that's the reason why, in my opinion, not only El Chorrito, but a lot of Mexican restaurants in the 80s kind of went out, right? Chevy's, Acapulco. I can mention even Don Jose's, although right now it's Rodrigo's, but it suffered a very similar fate. So
Well, literally during the pandemic, a large number of restaurants died.
yeah,
And then you turned around and you doubled the size of your restaurants in the meantime.
yeah,
So you're saying that you're not only innovating, but what I heard you say, you said change doesn't work in every neighborhood.
yeah,
So you have to pay attention to who your clients are.
absolutely. If you look at and one of the things that we get criticized the most for us, what I hear, right? We design every single one of our restaurants, and the reason why we design every single one of our restaurants is because we design it based on what the neighborhood likes, what the neighborhood would be expecting us Sol Agave to be. It can't just be a copy and paste. It doesn't work that way. To us, our success has been they you're going into their neighborhood. They need to embrace you, and the way that they embrace you is, or the way that it's easier for them to embrace you is if you don't feel like a stranger coming in. If as they coming in, they notice, oh wow, this looks like one of our neighborhood restaurants, like our beloved restaurants. So we do a lot of studying when it comes to what's the best restaurant, not necessarily Mexican, but what's the best restaurant in the area. And then we go there and say, what are their, why do they like this? Is the food good? Is the drinks? How about the ambiance? What kind of music they like? You know, every single neighborhood is completely different. And to us, that's been a key focus in our success.
Okay, now you before class, you told me that you have partners. You have
Yeah,
3 different partners.
correct.
Your specialty is the front end and dealing with all the customer things.
Yeah.
Tell us about what makes you special and different from other people.
Not necessarily special or different, but it's you have the genuine desire of of really helping others, right? One of the key factors that I think uh, is a testament of the environment that we create within ourselves is that we treat our employees as partners. They make or break our business, so we give them all the tools that they need. We certainly hold them accountable, but we also give them that freedom to be themselves. We don't want a robot out there. I hired Becky for her personality, not for her to follow a script that I have written for her. So I allow her to be herself, just as long as within that script or within that whatever she wants to say, uh, you get to show them the best of what Sol Agave has to offer.
Okay.
And that's so it's really not a big secret. I just have a genuine desire to serving others. I really do when it comes to customer service. So yeah, there's 3 partners, and the reason why our partnership works so perfect is that for you to have 7 restaurants, you could not do it yourself. I mean, you will, but I'm guarantee you will not be married, very long. It's a very lonely, lifestyle. You certainly sacrifice your sense of joy when it comes to your life. So, I I I like the fact that I have partners because we all stay within our lanes, right? So Edgar is in charge of financials. Oscar is in charge of our kitchen and everything that it has to do with recipes and innovating plates. And I run what's called the front of the house, the operations, everything works perfect, and I can maintain a healthy lifestyle because of it.
Okay, so you have three partners. You all stay in your own specific lanes as you go through. Now, previously, you told me that you guys meet about every 3 months and go over your menus.
Yes.
Tell us about that, because it sounds like you were constantly seeking to make certain your menu meets the needs of your customer.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Every 3 months. In fact, in our menu, we have something that's called Chef Specials. So, Chef Specials is something that keeps changing throughout the year. Uh, Obviously, never sacrificing your or never changing your core items. There's some items that are always going to be there because that's what the guests. If you ever thought, if for those of you listening right now, if you're thinking about Sol Agave, uh, first thing you want to know is, okay, what are they good at? Okay, you're going to come back and try the carnitas. So the carnitas is always going to be, it's a staple item, right? So it's always going to be in the menu item. But when it comes to, say, a rack of lamb, New York con hueso that we have right now, those are items that changes based on what the trend is right now. And if you notice on most restaurants right now, you'll see a lot of tomahawks. Steaks is definitely something that is big right now. And so we chose the New York con hueso, but we always do it. We put that Mexican twist to it. I always said that our challenge, and every 3 months we do this, is okay. We can. Is our food still look more beautiful than the rest of our competitors? If the answer is yes, how long would it be? Who's very close? And is it time to push the boundaries? Is it time to keep moving? It could be as simple as just changing plates. Same presentation, but if you switch the plate for a guest, that's completely new to them. Although they're eating the exact same recipe, it's just presented to them in a different way. You don't necessarily always have to be changing your menu, but you always have to be innovating when it comes to the hardware, the plates, the glasses that you serve, even the napkins or the silverware. Those are little subtle things that the guest notices.
Now, you just had a grand opening for which store was it? Number 6 or number 7?
Yeah. It's hard to keep track. I think it's number 7.
Number
That's
7?
our LA Live location.
So you're in LA Live.
LA Live,
Okay.
Crypto.com.
Probably one of the hottest venues in all of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So we went through, I didn't even ask you any of the questions that we're supposed to ask you. Let me just check. Does anybody have any questions for Jesse?
I do.
Go ahead.
Hi. How do you handle competition?
We thrive in competition. We invite competition, right? It's what sharpens our skills, and it's what motivates us to be better. So competition to us, I feel like we hope never dies. We hope there's more restaurants that come and smack us in the face, because that just makes us come back even stronger and keep giving the guests something that they haven't seen before.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure.
Other questions? How does, okay, normally we always talk about the aspect of a lot of entrepreneurs come from entrepreneur families. Are you the first entrepreneur in your family?
I am.
Okay.
So
So just because the books say it doesn't mean it's true.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I sparked the flame though, because now my brother and my sister are both starting their business. In fact, they're the ones running our Utah operation.
Okay. How much planning did you do? Did you write out a giant business plan before you launched your food truck?
No, we definitely had a business plan. As Although obviously not going to college or business school didn't help. So they would look at my business plan and they would think that I would be joking, right? It was a very small, concise business plan. our logo was in there, but and then the demographics, the economics, and more so the marketing ideas, right? The things that we were gonna do to make sure that our restaurant was successful. But other than that, it was not. Definitely did a lot of planning. Every break, we would go out and we call it napkin dreaming. We would write it down in a piece of napkin, and we would write down the menus, the logos, everything that you can think of, even the cities that we wanted to open. Uh, Definitely did a lot of that. So when it came down to opening our first restaurant, we were like a fish in the water because we knew what to expect, we knew what to do.
So you use a really different kind of model. Instead of diving into full-blown retail, you used a food truck, and that way you had almost no real serious debt. When it came down to it, you weren't obligated by a lease to pay a landlord on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So you actually sat down there and you went to selling food, and that was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, to me, it was the only option I had, right? I started my business with a $5,000 loan that I asked my aunt for, and she believed in the concept. She lent me the money. We gave our deposit to the truck, and away we went. But it was more so what kept me going was the burning desire of changing what the guests perceive Mexican food to be, right? A lot of everybody think about Mexican food, and three things that are going to come to your mind is burritos, tacos, and greasy, fatty, not necessarily healthy for your body, right? But it's not true. Mexico has a lot to offer. It's one of the richest when it comes to agriculture. Almost everything comes from Mexico. So the flavors are definitely there. And there's an amazing chefs coming out of Mexico that I'm thrilled. I hope that one day I get to compete against them, because Mexico truly does have a lot of things to offer. So
Okay.
that's kind of what it was. It was just we were tired of seeing the same thing.
Okay.
But for us, the food truck was the only way because of the money aspect, and because we didn't have a location. So we felt that, okay, well, what if we build our clientele, we build the need, and then we can open a C location, and they will come to us rather than paying a big ticket price like LA Live is right now.
Okay. Now, I've got to let in a couple of students in the meantime that are floating out in the Netherlands. Can you give us a rousing closing speech? Now, by the way, just so you guys know, Jesse has always wanted to be a motivational speaker. So Jesse, here is one of your big opportunities. These are students that want to make lots of money and be rich, and give 10% of all the money to the IBC College Foundation, right? Yes. Can you go ahead and just close out and tell us your story, and tell them what you want them to know, what it takes to be successful in an entrepreneur?
Well, I think number one is if you do it for money, you're in the wrong business, especially when it comes to the restaurant, right? So you gotta do it for the right reason. To me, it was never about the money. It was more so about giving the guests something else, and that's what I can say about that. But when it comes to, I'll just leave you with a couple things that has helped me throughout my career, and I applaud every one of you for that, for being here. Is always be an owner, not a manager. By that I mean that if you're an owner, you can manage your time differently. If you're a manager, then you are a manager. You're set to a time. You have a certain schedule, and your growth is not going to be as clean, right? The difference is having a clear vision. So have a clear vision of what your business is going to be. It's obviously for me it was food. For you, it could be something else. But that clear vision is definitely going to dictate what it is that that you want to do it and how you're going to do it. I've always said no shortcuts. It's something that I preach and I tell all my servers is shortcuts will kill your business. A shortcut is as simple as instead of giving 5 ounces of meat today, I'm just going to give them 4 ounces because that's the fastest way to making money. The guests will notice it, and your employees will notice it, and you will be out of business very, very soon. So shortcuts, when it comes to across the board, eliminate them. We've talked about innovating. What's working now will not necessarily work in 2 years. Keep the essentials, but keep evolving, and don't be afraid to push the boundaries. Time management to me has been the key, right? Time is your biggest asset that you possess. So if you learn how to manage your time and what to do with your time, it's going to pay you back in threefolds, right? What you're doing right now, instead of watching a movie or being out with your friends, you are investing in yourself and you are using your time wisely. But don't stop that. Keep growing and keep doing that. There's tons of resources out there that would help you. I like the 7 Habits book, and Setting the Table by Danny Meyer has really helped me in my short career. To me, it has been about using quality, not quantity. Quality, your guests will appreciate, and they will come back for that. Your quantity, not necessarily. They won't be there. Be the guest. The guests can tell the difference. And like I said, learn to listen. Learn to listen. It's one of the things that have really helped me. You're very quick to kind of come up with your own conclusions, especially when you're talking to a guest. Listen and really have their best interest in mind, and you'll do just fine. I look forward to seeing everyone in your field and being a part of this class, having somebody else teach it.
Cool. Nice. Thank you very much. Round of applause for Jesse. Yay!
Yeah.
Super. Thank you ever so much.